Hi, my name is Martin, and during today's tutorial I will demonstrate how to create your own document and then how to design a process, a workflow process for that document. As a reminder, Navigator is an ECM class platform that allows you to transform almost any kind of document to a paperless form. For today's presentation, I will be using a demonstration environment called Fructon. This is a company based on a beverage company. All the data, all documents used for today's presentation are fake. They were prepared just for the needs of this presentation. Okay, let's start with the system. This is the introduction screen. On the left-hand side, we have applications. And for the purpose of today's tutorial, we'll be working in the context of this application only, so documents. I will click documents, and as you can see, we are in the context of this application. I will collapse the left menu. On the left-hand side, we see a tree of documents. So this is a document tree. So we have organizational documents, and now we are going to add a node called policies. So the new document would be a regulation, a corporate policy. So let's go to the settings, and again on the left hand side we have steps that we need to go through to get our new document ready. First, we need to develop a form. So I'll click Add, select Form, then Documents, and the form name would be Policy. I click Save, and the system creates a form based on a template form. So these nodes here are created upon the template. I prefer to use the visual editor. So I click the Visual Editor tab, and what I can see here is my new form. Some of the fields are not necessary, so I'll just delete them. This one, for example. And some of them I will change. So this, for example, I will call Policy Details. Policy, sorry about that. Policy details. All right. And what do we need for the policy details? What sort of fields do we need? I'm thinking of two dates. First is valid from, and then the second one is valid to. So I'll drag date field. First one I will call valid from, and the second one valid to. Okay. I'm also thinking of a field that would suggest who the policy is for, so who does it concern. And for that purpose, I will drag an autocomplete, maybe not autocomplete, autocomplete multi-choice. The difference is that with multi-choice, you can choose 2, 3, or more items. So I will call that who it may concern. All right. Who it may concern. I will make that 100% wide, and now I will go to the details of this field and provide what list it should be assigned to. So when I type something, a letter in that field, it would search through the elements of that list. So I'm thinking of an organizational structure. Okay, and this would be my list behind. Okay, one more thing, it applies to the structure. This is a very important field if you want to use the elements from this field in a workflow procedure. So I have this purpose in my mind, so that's why I put this structure here. If you don't want to use this field in a workflow procedure, this is not important. Okay, I click Save. One more thing, conditions. I have to attach that list to a data set. So the first column ID, the second column just a simple name of a organizational unit. Okay, I click Save. And probably we have the form ready. Let's see the left-hand menu. We have the form, and now we are going to go to the next steps. The second step is the menu, and the third, document types. I will skip the menu this time. Well, you can have a dedicated menu for a document, but if you don't use a dedicated menu, the document will use a default menu. So in this case, I'll be fine with the default menu. Okay, and document types, you can create it from scratch, but you can also check your form and generate the document type right from the form. Okay, let's see what happened. We have a new document called policy, and also we have it attached to a form, and we have all the fields from the form checked active, visible, and editable. You can change that. For example, I want to change the company type and category to be not editable. So these fields would be visible but not editable for a user. And also I want to change the policy details to be required. So valid from would be required, and also who it may concern. Okay, I'll save that. One more thing, I want this policy to be under management section, management node. So I'll just change the pattern, or the parent, sorry, management, and here we go. We have it under management node. Now we will add statuses for our new document. Status is something visible right from the list. So when you look at the list, you see statuses, you see colors that mean what process stage the current document is. So the first status would be registered. The second would be let's say approved. Okay, the color would be green. And the third status would be acknowledged, or in simple words, red. So these are the main steps that our new document will go through. So first it's registered, then it's approved, and then when everybody ticks yes, I am aware of that policy, the status would be marked as red. Now we will prepare a workflow process that would actually decide how the document goes from one status to another. All right, so let's prepare a workflow process. I will call that policy workflow. Policy is my document. Version is not that important at the moment. Okay, and now I go straight to the diagram tab. It's an easiest way to start designing your process. I will add some shapes here. So we have activity 1 and 2. The difference between decision and task is that in case of a task you have one way out. In case of a decision you have two ways out. So either accept or reject. Okay, the first activity would be policy registration. The second would be policy approval. Okay, I drag arrows from one to another, so from registration to approval. I will also need one more, which is very important. Once policy is approved, it will go for everybody it concerns to be read, right? To be acknowledged with. So I will call that activity getting familiar with the policy. Okay, and maybe I will also design a task here, an activity here, which would say what's going to happen if a policy is rejected. So if the policy is rejected, we have a step called policy verification. All right, and when once it's verified, it goes again to the policy approval step. Okay, this is the main scratch of a process. I save that. When I double click an activity, it will redirect me to the details. And from these details, I will only describe the most important features. First is the name of a path. So this is the name of a button that is visible for a user when a document is at this stage. So at policy registration, the button above would be submit for approval. If somebody clicks that button, it will go to the next step. So again, if this button is clicked, the document changes its status to registered. Okay, and also I need to say who the executor is for that activity. And look, I have several options here. I'm not going to go through all of these. I suggest reading our documentation if you are interested in each of them. For the purpose of this activity, I'm going to use a person who launched the workflow. This is a very popular option. So anybody can register their policy. But anyways, it should be later on be approved by a manager. And this is the step that we will assign our approver. So first, the buttons. So the first button would be approve, and the second reject. If approved is clicked, the status is changed to approved. If reject, okay, I don't have a status for rejected documents. I could add that, but I'm not gonna use it this time. All right, so who will be our approver? My suggestion is that it might be a specific user, and maybe the specific user would be our CEO, Rebecca. Rebecca is our Chief Executive Officer. But look, if I decide to assign a user to this activity, and something happens to that user, let's say it will leave our company, all the processes will have to be checked again, because this user would be not available anymore. So better option is to use a specific position. And this time, again, I can recall that Rebecca, but what system writes down underneath is her position. So if there is a new person on that position, the process would direct this activity to that person. And now the third step is getting familiar with the policy. the step name would be confirm as, or maybe not confirm, mark as read. And when everybody confirms that they got to know what the policy is about, the status will change to read. The executors for that, and that's an interesting part, would be all the people who are selected in the field who it may concern. So we have this field on our form, and everyone from that field would be obliged to say, yes, I am aware of what the policy is about. Okay, so everyone. We might also take this one, send a message about new activity to its executors. It means that not only in the system, but also on emails, on their emails, they will get a notification that there is a policy waiting for them to be to get familiar with. Okay. One last step, policy verification. I will just repeat that the person who launched the workflow submit for approval again. Okay, let's have a look at our diagram. In the preview mode, we have a policy registration, we have a policy approval by a CEO, and then at the last step we have getting familiar with the policy by everyone who is in the field who it might concern. Okay, the process is ready. Now it's time to design a list for our new document. Again, the easiest way is to mark the previous step. Okay, not the purchase, but management, sorry. Mark our policy and more generate list. What we have is the list for our new document. We have all the fields that are available on the form, but not all the fields would be necessary for the list. So I'm going to drag one by another. What is the most important? What is the most important for me? So valid from is the most important. I want to see it all the time. Valid to, default hidden, company, default hidden, safe. Company, default hidden. I will also drag a status and also a document date. I want status to be visible, document date to be visible. Okay, I might also need attachments, visible, and with the preview attachment checkbox checked. That means that we could see the attachment, the preview of the attachment right in the list. I think it's enough. Let's save it. The last step is document categories. So we will add a document category somewhere here as we expected, as we planned. I'm going to add, let's say PLC, policies. Default type is policy, list policy, and now we have to decide who would be permitted to see this node. And my suggestion is that we will entitle everyone from a company to add new policies. That means that everybody can add a new policy, but they only can view those policies that they are entitled to. That means that if there is a policy and I am in the field who it might concern, in that case I will see that policy, and that's fine with me. Okay, the parent category would be organizational documents. Okay. I believe our new document is ready. Let's check how it works. So we have documents, we have organizational documents, policies. Let's add our first policy. add attachment. I have a sample policy here. And now I'm going to fill the form what the policy is about. Let's say Eva, sorry, not Eva, but Zoe. Zoe, that means me, is the owner. Document date, let's say, is today. Description, travel expenses. Reference number, okay. Reference number is something that we will modify in a minute. So the reference number would be given by a system, will be filled automatically. But for our first policy, let's say I will provide that manually. I will now take the policy workflow process, veil it from, let's say, from today, and who it might concern. I will go and check the technical division. I don't want all the company to be acknowledged with this policy, just the technical division. Let's see how it works. I click Save. And I have our process. This is our process that we just designed. And this process is being executed at the moment. So this is the first step. The box marked with yellow is the step that is being executed right now. So when I click Submit for approval, it would go to Rebecca Henderson, as you see, for approval. So I will log as Rebecca at the moment. I have my policy waiting for me here, so I'll click this. I'll click Approve, and as you see, there's everybody in the technical division that is now well, entitled to view this policy, but not only to view, but they will have to let's say, mark this policy as read. Let's look at the first one. I think Clara Bauer would be one of them. Clara Bauer. All right. I've got this policy waiting for her. And as you see, first of all, she has permission to that document, and then she has this button here, mark as read. So everybody clicks that, and we know exactly who already got familiar with the policy and who is the policy still waiting for. Okay, let's make some quick correction for our document. Log out, sorry, Zoe Roberts. And as I said, we would like our policy management. We would like for our policy to be the reference number to be calculated automatically. So we have this reference number part here. Our symbol would be PLC. The first member is the document symbol, and the second would be date of a document, just the year. And the third member would be number with numbers with zeros, without zeros, okay? Without zeros. All right. And when we finish configuring, our next policy, if we wanted to add, would look like this. That the reference number is calculated automatically as you see. Okay, I think that's it for today. I strongly recommend to you watching our other videos, other tutorials from the document management section, as well as from other sections covered by Navigator platform. Thank you very much. See you soon.